Welcome to the Dice Tower, a series of video reviews about board and card games. Here are your hosts, Tom Vassell and Sam Healy.
Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Z Garcia. Hi.
Sam Healy. Welcome back, folks.
Today we're taking a look at Zombicide Invader. This is the sequel to Zombicide Green Horde, which was the sequel to Zombicide Black Plague, which was the sequel to Zombicide, which was a sequel to George Romero's movie Night of the Living Dead.
Really? That's where they got the basis for that? No.
Oh, okay.
I don't think so.
28 days later.
They're making a Night of the Living Dead version of
Yes, I
Zombicide. Okay. Anyway, I digress. This is... Are they zombies though? I think they're like aliens.
No, they're Xenos.
They're aliens.
They're aliens, yeah.
But also, they're zombies. Sam is now going to tell us how the game is played.
There you go. Now, as far as the basic gameplay is concerned, it does not stray too far away from any of the other Zombicide franchise games that are out there, Black Plague, Green Horde, regular Zombicide, and all this other kind of stuff. So the gameplay doesn't stray too far away from any of that, but there are some differences. I already mentioned the mold areas that are dropped by the Abomination whenever he shows up a little bit later on. But these things will possibly spawn more bad guys, and that comes out of the search deck. So as you're searching around, there's possibilities for other things to pop up in these areas that are in addition to your spawn cards that you go through in the enemy's phase. Another thing that's different is that there's a difference between the outside zones and the inside zones. Some weapons only work outside. Your energy-based weapons only work outside. Your bullet weapons only work inside. So that's another difference there. Additionally, you have to have oxygen tanks in order to go outside for your survivors. So you have to, especially in this scenario, there are other scenarios that where you start with oxygen, so that's not a problem, but you have to go here first before you can go out one of the airlocks, otherwise you'll die. There are also differences in characters. So for example, here, you have Magnus, and Magnus, if you see here, has a little red symbol by his name up here, and that means that he is a soldier. Whereas Mitsuki here has a yellow symbol by her name, and that means that she is a civilian. Now, the difference between the two is that civilians can search anywhere that you would like. Soldiers, however, can only search in these red zones here, which are basically armories for the military armories or what have you. So there's that difference as well. Some of the other things that happen here, you have your starting weapons, which are not the best, but they can handle their own a little bit. You also have a starting ability. For example, Mitsuki here has remote control bot, which means that from the beginning of the game, she can control the Peacekeeper. And then she also has her hit points over here. Now, you'll see over here that Magnus is kind of a beast. He starts off with 6 hit points. He is definitely the most hit point heavy person in the game. So he's kind of the tank, whereas Mitsuki and the other characters really, because other than Magnus, the highest hit point level is 3 out of the starting folks here. But the civilians have 2, the other soldiers have 3, Magnus has 6 hit points, so there is that. Now, as I already mentioned, you can control the Peacekeeper bot or the Sentry gun, and both of those have attack profiles as are denoted here. And they are not taken by any one particular person. Anybody can control them as long as you have that skill on your card here that you can use that remote control. In this specific scenario, this objective token is going to award whoever goes there 5 experience points, prototype light machine gun, and an energy cell, which is necessary. This is one of those weapons that work outside, denoted by the little lightning bolt that's right here. If you have a weapon that does not work inside, you have a bullet symbol right here that shows that it only works interior, not exterior. So basically, the way a turn goes is that you have two phases. You have a player's phase, and then you also have a Xenos phase, which is where the bad guys are going to be moving around and spawning more and that type of thing, attacking possibly. So what will happen here is a player will take the first player token, which is this right here, and he'll be able to do his survivors first, and then in clockwise order, they'll be able to do their survivors and so forth and so on. You can choose whichever order you want your people to go in on your turn, but you have to do both of yours, then the next person has to do both of theirs, and so forth and so on. Or if you are playing with 6 people, then you're only going to be controlling 1 anyway, so there you have that. Now with Mitsuki, she has control over the bot, and whenever Mitsuki moves and they're in the same place, the bot can move with her for free. So that would be 1 movement point, and now she's going to use her second action point. She's got 3 altogether. Her second action point is going to be to have the Peacekeeper bot take a shot at these guys over here. So if we look at the Peacekeeper bot, he has a profile of a melee or a ranged attack, and then he's going to be rolling 5 dice for the ranged attack. He needs to score 5 pluses, and each of those are going to have a strength of 1. So he's going to take 5 dice here and roll them, looking for 5s or higher. And so he didn't get any hits on that one, so she's going to use her last and final attack and roll again. And that time she got, or rather the Peacekeeper bot got 2 hits, which takes care of both of these guys, and then that will raise her meter here, her experience point meter, to 2. Now, since the machine, the bot here did take an action, it's going to take one of these tokens, and now he is considered to be one of the survivors that could be a possible recipient of an attack. But unless he does an action, he won't get one of these. But now this denotes that he is in action. Now, you might be saying, well, he just opened fire. Doesn't that start some, make some noise over here? And the easy answer is no, because this bot, whenever he is activated, does not cause any noise. Now we're going to have Magnus go. He's going to use 1 action to move in here. He's going to use a second action to search in here as well. So he searches and he gains a chainsaw. Now the chainsaw is a melee weapon. It's energy based, so it can be used outside. And he's going to be rolling 5 dice looking for 5 pluses, and it has a strength of 2. So he's going to be able to take out these bad guys over here that are a little bit stronger than the other ones. So he's going to automatically equip that. And additionally, it doesn't cause any noise either. So that's cool. So he has moved 1, searched for 2, and now he's going to move over here for his 3rd action. Next comes Jared, and he's a soldier, so he can only search in here. So he's going to move 1, and then he's going to pull a search card. And this is a mold spawn. So each of the different places that have mold is going to get an extra worker. So all of the mold spawns get 1 worker, and that's that for that card. But at the bottom of the card, it does say to draw another card to replace it. So he has searched in here, and he gets some ablative armor, which can be discarded to ignore 1 damage. So that will go in his inventory space there, and that is 1, 2 for the searching, and then he will also come over here for 3, like so. Next up is this person over here, and they have Baraka and Vivian. Vivian is the civilian, so she's going to go first and go ahead and search because she can search here, whereas Baraka can't. So we're going to go ahead and search, and there is a chainsaw, which is pretty cool. So her search action is done. Her second action is going to be to give her cattle prod to Baraka, which means that Baraka now has the ability to dual wield cattle prods because they both have this symbol right here, which means that they'll be able to roll, instead of 2 dice only, they can combine. So rolling 4 dice looking for 5 pluses. And that was her second action. And for her third action, she's just going to move over here with the rest of the crowd. And so now that Vivian is gone, we're going to go ahead and let Baraka go. She has her dual wielding cattle prods, so she's pretty much ready. Doesn't need to do any searching. Plus, Cole over here is by himself. That's a bad place to be. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, use all of her activations to get up there and provide Cole with some support. And that ends our player phase. Now in the Xenos phase, the first thing that everybody does is all of the bad guys will move and or attack. All right, so these workers here will simply move in. They only have one activation, so they don't do any damage this turn. Same thing with these guys over here. And then this tank will also move in here, but he only has one activation as well. Then this worker over here will move over. This hunter here has 2 activations, so he'll move one. If there's somebody there that he can attack, he'll attack for his second activation. But since there isn't, he'll simply move again for that second activation, and that will be the end of their activation step. Second step is spawning, where we draw a card for each of the spawn zones. So this first one over here gets a tank spawn. So we look to see, we're at blue level, and so 4 tanks come out here. That's a lot of tanks. And then this one over here, which is the more important one. Oh, that's not good either. Then what we would do is remove any noise tokens that were put out on the board, and then the next player receives the first person token, and we carry out another player's phase, followed by a Xenos phase, and so forth and so on, until the game ending condition is met. And the game ending condition for this specific scenario is if one of the team members, survivors, dies, we've lost. We're out. Otherwise, we need to get everybody over to the exit spot over here and off the board. And if we do that, we've won the game. Now, one final thing I wanted to touch on is something that's new for combat. Generally speaking, you're rolling dice, you're trying to get whatever your weapon has for its rolling profile, getting 4 pluses, 5 pluses, 3 pluses, something like that, to score hits. And the strength of your weapon is used to determine whether or not you can take out a certain kind of creature. For example, the cattle prods are strength 1 weapons, okay? As you can see right down here. And they roll 2 dice, so it's possible for you to do a lot of damage for the workers, but if you try, and the hunters, but if you try to hit the tank or the abomination that actually hasn't come out yet, you're not going to be able to do much damage there. But they do have a new rule here called concentrated fire or concentrated attacks. And what that simply means is that you can announce that you're doing concentrated fire, concentrated attack at the beginning of your combat phase or your attacking phase. And that will allow you to take as many hits that you have and multiply the strength of the weapon to the hits, which means that one cattle prod could possibly take out a tank, even though it's a strength 1 weapon. You're really focusing on it. And it could also mean that dueling cattle prods, since you're going to be rolling 4 dice, are going to be able to possibly take out an abomination, which is a strength 3 character. All right, so basically you have here, Baraka has a dual wielding cattle prods here. So she's going to be rolling 4 dice, and if she gets 2 5 or pluses, that can take this guy out. Now, what you have to do is say you're concentrating fire on that model. So if you only get 1 hit, for example, you can't take out one of these guys. You have to take this guy out or nothing. So they'll roll 4 dice here specifically, and just, good hard luck, you get 2 5s, which will be able to take this guy out, because that cattle prod, because you focused your attack, acted like a strength 2 weapon, which is what you need to take out one of these tanks. So that's something a little bit different for combat, is that concentrated fire or concentrated attacks in melee. You also do have this targeting priority, where you have to go after tanks and abominations first, then workers, and then hunters are the last thing that you can take out. So that's something for you to take into account as well. But generally speaking, that's how gameplay goes. Let's get to our final thoughts.
Alrighty,
Nice
yeah.
job, Sam. Nice job.
I hope so.
Well done.
Okay, so for me, I like this theme slightly better than regular Zombicide. Actually, I like this theme better than even the medieval one, Black Plague. Where you guys stand on like the theming of it?
This is probably my favorite one. I'm a sci-fi guy. So I like this. Now, it does get soured a little bit. This is a dumb thing, but the fact that they are dragging, that I know that it's based on the other ones, puts in my head the idea of, well, it's a little pasted on. Like if this was, Alien, Invader, whatever, I'd be like, cool theme.
Yeah.
As it is now, it drags a little bit of that,
yeah.
like, oh, it's just like Black Plague, but in space, it's pasted on. So, but ultimately taking each one in a vacuum, yeah, I like the science stuff, science fiction stuff, machines and robots and aliens and stuff, yeah.
I know it's hard for you to like something more than orcs, but...
Well, I wouldn't go that far. People that I've been seeing make comments about this, they actually said this is a good XCOM style board game.
Yes.
In other words, this is the missions part of XCOM that really I wanted XCOM the board game to be like.
Right.
Sure, no, that makes sense.
And so I'm not saying that this is what XCOM should have been, but with that ideology, this is a really cool theme for that.
Right.
I mean, it gives you're not on Earth like XCOM was,
right,
but it still gives that same thing where you're gearing up and you're going out to fight this zombie invasion. I'm sorry, Xeno invasion.
It says Zombicide on the box.
Yeah,
I feel like
I
you
looked
could.
at it right before I said it. That's why I said it. Plus, zombie Xeno starts with the same letter. Sound.
So here's the deal. Taking out the changes, and there are some changes in this game from the original.
Right.
If you like Zombicide, you'll like this. If you like this, if you don't like Zombicide, I don't see this changing your mind.
Yeah.
I mean, okay. Unless for some reason you're beef, and I mean when I say Zombicide, I'm talking Black Plague because that's the most popular one.
Green Horde, Black Plague. Yeah.
Right. Unless there's a specific rule you don't like, and that happens to be the rule that changed. Other than that,
happened with me.
Sure. Well, I mean, from Zombicide to Black Plague, yes. Right. But I'm saying, other than that, though, this isn't changing. This isn't changing the game. This isn't some brand new thing. Yes, there's that concentrated fire, which definitely changes how it feels in many regards.
Right.
But it's still Zombicide. I'm not playing this going, oh, this is a completely different game. No,
I agree with that.
And that's fine. And when you watch a live playthrough, some people got upset because we were joking about that. But that's funny. It's funny to say, oh, this is a fatty. It's whatever it is in this game.
Right.
Tank.
Yeah.
A tank. I don't mind that. And I actually like the little changes in this one. I love the concentrated fire.
Well, there's two kind of big ones I guess we can zero in on. We all like Zombicide, right? I mean...
actually, I'm okay with Zombicide.
To an extent.
Black Plague is better.
I'm sorry. Black Plague is what I mean when I say that.
You don't dislike it, is what
I don't dislike any of them.
Yeah.
And you like Black Plague, and you like Green Horde, and I thought Green Horde was okay because of those little rules changes, but I do enjoy Black Plague. So there's two main things, correct me if I'm wrong here, that changed. Concentrated fire, meaning you can take down a big guy with weak weapons if you target them with every possible hit and you roll well.
Yeah.
Love that.
You love that?
I do.
I thought it was interesting. I do worry about the balance. Seems a little iffy, and thematically it hurts a little bit. And I think you agree with me with the thematic part.
Well, I don't know about the thematic part. I'm afraid. I've played through 3 of the missions now, having made to the 4th one, which is where they actually ratcheted up to a medium level difficulty. The ones that I've played have all been easy level things. Now, the first one that we played was we got shellacked the first time we did it, and we actually played it again immediately because we got beat so bad at it. And then the second time we went through, easy peasy. That was like a walk in the park.
So you replayed both of those missions?
I replayed the first one, and then I played the second and the third one.
Right, so you played it.
So I played
5
0,
missions,
1,
and
and 2.
You're 4 and 1?
No, I played 0, 1, and 2.
Got it.
And so I'm 4 and 1. Yeah, I lost with you guys, so may have been the players. But all of them, I did not feel at any point that we were at fear of losing.
Sure, but when I'm looking here in the book, it says easy.
Yes, I get that. But the Abomination came out multiple times in both the first and the second scenario because they number them 0, 1, 2. And we did not have any trouble because of concentrated fire dispatching that guy at all. As a matter of fact, by the 3rd mission that we were playing, we were actually wanting to go find him for the experience points.
Right.
Now, where it really ratchets up though are the spawn cards. You are spawning a boatload of Xenos.
Oh, that whole mold thing.
Yes.
And so
that's the other big rule change, I would say, is the spread of mold that behaves as spawn points on the board.
Yeah.
Now that change, didn't really like that much. I thought the concentrated fire makes the easy missions actually easy, as opposed to Black Plague,
you're right.
in which the easy ones are
Hard.
medium, the medium ones are hard, and the hard ones I skip and go back to the beginning of the book. Right? That's the problem.
Right.
'Cause when a creature comes out and I actually don't have a way to fight it, it becomes a runaway game. That kind of sucks. And in this one, there's an out for that. That's cool.
Right.
The leaving a trail of goop and then guys rise up from there. It's very cinematic and sounds cool.
Yeah.
Mechanically, I thought it was a little iffy.
Actually, I like that. I don't like it when I'm playing, but I like how it works.
Okay.
I think you have to have one with the other. If you don't have that mold in the search deck spawning people, it's way too easy. Because I was just about to say that the only thing that really keeps you on your edge is how many different people are coming out.
Okay.
They're all squishies. They all die real easy, except for the Abomination and the tanks. Even the tanks die pretty easy in this one. But the Abomination, I mean, he's coming out, boom, boom, boom. He's getting extra activations, boom, boom, boom. It's happening a lot. The only thing that really counteracts that is the concentrated fire.
Okay.
So you have to have one if you're going to have the other.
Right. I will say I like it more than I like the Green Horde mechanism.
Yeah.
That idea of like building up a pile and eventually one card dumps them all onto the board. That I thought was insanity. And I mean, they talk about making the easy missions difficult. Are you kidding? That's insane.
No,
those guys and even the squishies in that game are tougher than the squishies in Black Plague.
So I mean, with Invader, I like the changes that they've made to it because they've taken the level of the game further, but they haven't made it more difficult just for the sake of making it more difficult.
Right.
They've actually kept, and I guess you could say in some respects they've made it a little bit easier, but I think that might be a little bit of a faux.
I'm okay with that.
Perception.
You can always make
right.
games harder.
I agree with that. There's no reason to have easy be difficult. You might have people who want easy. You can then make difficult really difficult.
There's also two more minor changes that I thought were important. One is the robot and the gun, which I love.
Yes.
It's neat to have those.
Yes.
And two, I feel like this game, there's the inside-outside aspect, but I also feel like this game really pared the decks down.
Yeah.
You ever play Zombicide? You're like, ooh, what am I going to find? This is baloney. This is garbage. And I'm looking for the stupid dragon's ball. I got to wait till I find it. Here, you're like, oh, a machine gun. I'm cool.
Right.
Yeah.
It just felt better.
There are a lot of MREs in there. That just comes down to a shuffling.
I don't even mind the MREs. They heal you, man.
Well, they give you
They give you
experience.
experience
It's
points,
the food or water.
Oh, experience. That's fine, but experience makes me feel better.
Yes.
I mean, it doesn't unlock new powers, but the monsters get bigger. I agree with you guys. Again, the only thing I think was a little iffy for me was that spore stuff. Every other change is solid. And the theme, no complaints here.
Yeah, so this is not a game that I would probably have in my personal collection. It's still zombies, and I'm a little over the theme.
It's not zombies.
Sure.
Xenos.
They're aliens.
I get it, but this is my favorite of the series so far. I did not mind playing it. I like how short the missions are. They're not that. And it does bring me a whole... And that's one of my favorite things to do in a game. So this works well for me in that regard. This gets 1.5 non-zombie fingers up. And...
They have tentacles. Some of them even have tentacles coming out of their mouths.
Yeah, you know,
tentacle.
I want to know how they kiss each other.
Mouth.
Why do you want to know that?
It's interesting.
No, it's not. That's
He's that
creepy.
scientist who turns evil on the space station.
Exactly.
He's studying it like,
This guy is Baltar.
We'll feed this to a human and see what happens. I say for me, I've played Black Plague a solid amount. I've played a lot of solitaire Black Plague. This for me is tied with it, I would say, because what my one minor issue notwithstanding, it's an awesome theme. Robot doesn't hurt, and there's a lot of guns in this, right?
Yeah.
So I think it's ultimately probably a scenario I can envision more than Black Plague. Like, it's more cinematic. I know I said that word already, but it bears repeating. That's how it feels to me. So this is tied, and I am going to give it to autonomous robot destruction robots up. Man,
Cool. It's actually called a Peacekeeper bot.
man no, peace? No, 2 chaos bots.
Chaos bots. Well, I enjoy everything that has come out from Black Plague and up. Yeah, you can go back and retroactively change the rule in Zombicide original version as well, and you'll basically have the same game. But I like the medieval theme better than the futuristic zombie apocalypse theme.
But it's present day, man. It's happening tomorrow. I read it in the newspaper. I get
I
each
just like
day,
the
that's
medieval
from tomorrow.
theme better, and I like the fact that they added orcs into the mix there. I do like that. The sci-fi theme with aliens and space marine-ish people.
Watch yourself.
Yeah. I really enjoy that too. I'm pretty equally keeled as far as do I like fantasy or sci-fi. It just depends on
Sure.
the IP, the whatever it might be. But this one really works. I like the new rules that they've added into it. Concentrated fire is great. I was a little, kind of iffy on the things spawning as you search. But it works out well, especially with the concentrated fire thing, because you do.
I agree. I didn't like that when I first saw it, but I'm okay with it now.
Yeah. I mean, it really turns the game into. If we do things right, we'll survive more often than not. But there's always that chance where you're just going to get shellacked. But more often than not, you're going to do well. And I like games that do that. It allows you to have fun within that universe.
It's not about just suffering through a co-op.
Yeah.
Sure.
This is a fun cooperative game. You're going to blow a lot of things away, and you're going to have to make right choices, because if one person dies on at least most of the scenarios that I've played, you're done. And some of those guys some of your survivors are really fragile. So you got to make sure that you're doing the right thing. So 2 abomination spawn molding appendages up, because I did really enjoy it. I think it was a great step in the right direction for the franchise.
Cool.
All right, at Zombicide
Invader.
Indeed. I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Z Garcia.
Sam Healy. See you on the flip side, folks. Take care.